Devil's favorite advocate, Deuce Loosely, here after a long, a lengthy absence. It's lengthy for me anyway. I try to do these things once a week, but I was pretty busy last weekend, and no, I didn't make a recording. I didn't have time. I was pretty pressed for, the entire weekend, for the entire 5 days that I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was really, really, really busy. And I didn't get to watch WrestleMania like, I thought we would be able to. But apparently, I guess it was all for the better because it wasn't really that big a deal. I did get to see a couple of the key matches that I wanted to see, that I was interested in, but those turned out to be really bad decisions on the part of WWE, and I'll get to that in a moment or two. But I'm just gonna run through this bit of news items that you might have missed over the past week or so, because I did. So I went back through my sources over the past several days, and this is what I picked up. There's not a whole lot here, but there's enough. Okay, first of all, Lesnar versus Rock is being tossed around for WrestleMania 32. The Rock seems into it. Lesnar brought up the fact that he beat The Rock before, on purpose even. So this could be something. It might not be. We're just going to have to look. But that card has been laid on the table. We'll see what happens to it. The Slammies, that pseudo award show that we all love so much, has been moved from the end of the year to the first quarter of the year to coincide with the quote-unquote red carpet season, for, to be put in the middle of all these other award shows that you see on TV. And it's like, well, it has something to do with their partnership with NBC television, or whatever that is. But yeah, they're moving their Slammies up, and they're going to try and make it more legitimate, more exciting, or whatever. They say they're going to ramp up the production somehow. They didn't give any details, but we'll once again, we'll see. Global Force Wrestling will be in Las Vegas for their initial TV tapings this summer. I know one of them was July 24th, which is my birthday, and another one is in August, and another one is in October. Now, they still haven't released any details about this TV deal that they supposedly have, and they're going to make us wait on that. I don't know why they don't just announce something, give us a little piece, throw us a bone here, so people aren't walking around thinking that Global Force is not going to be a legitimate show or whatever. But Jeff Jarrett has been talking up GFW, and he has been talking about how great it's going to be and this and that and whatever. So, yeah, consider the source. Lesnar's new deal, there have been a few more details released about that. He did re-sign with WWE. It's going to be for 3 more years. They offered him more money, and he's not going to be appearing any more often than he already has been. In other words, not very often. You're going to see him in limited appearances, as he has been for the past several months. And also, that on-screen suspension that Stephanie McMahon levied against Lesnar, that's going to play into his absence. That's going to play into this idea that he's not going to be hyped and he's not going to be brought back until the build-up to SummerSlam. So don't expect to see Lesnar anytime soon. The WWE deal with Tap Out Clothing has resulted in their official partnership as a fitness and training partner. So look for a ton of product placement by Tap Out on WWE TV and in photos and whatnot. Look for a lot more Tap Out clothing to be seen on WWE TV and in the training center and in all that other stuff. They're going to exploit this partnership, and it's going to show. So expect to see a lot more of it. I mentioned The Rock earlier. His spot with Ronda Rousey at WWE appears to have sparked a little bit of interest in terms of future plans with WWE, even though UFC has explained that no, Rousey does not have a deal with WWE, that was a one-off, that was a one-night-only thing, and but that back and forth on Twitter, that when Rousey was saying this is only the beginning, and Rock replied with simply co-signed. So apparently, if something were to happen in WWE between those two in the future, they're both on board with it, but it's doubtful if UFC has anything to say about it. TNA has a new TV deal in Canada with the Fight Network, and this comes as a result of the fact that Canada has not been able to see TNA because of their move to Destination America, and apparently that channel is not seen very much, if at all, in Canada. It's not carried much, if at all, in Canada. So TNA moved over there to Fight Network, which will carry Impact and Explosion and whatever other TNA programming is out there. There were tensions between Stone Cold Steve Austin and WWE recently due to a disagreement over the usage of his podcast on the network. Further details haven't been released about that, but apparently Austin did not show up to the WrestleMania programming at all over this. So hopefully we'll hear more about that as it develops. The network has finally, 3 months later, after their projected date, passed 1.3 million subscribers. They were supposed to have reached 1.3 million subscribers in January to break even, or to make a profit. I can't remember exactly which level that was supposed to be, but 3 months later, they have finally reached 1.3 million. And let's see, 8 new shows are being announced. These are brand new shows, brand new productions, and they seem to be the same kind of thing that they have been offering with their new shows, with their original programming. But there has been apparently no further digging into the archived content, which they are sitting on, and people are still begging for them to release more, and they're not doing it. But anyway, speaking of, I was going to say speaking of WWE, but we do that a lot because, again, I bring up the point that we talk about them more because they're bigger and they're spread out further, and they tend to cause a lot more trouble for themselves. And speaking of trouble, apparently WWE officials are upset with a few of their Hall of Famers, specifically Kevin Nash, for refusing to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as Diesel because he wants to lend more credibility towards his non-wrestling projects in addition to the other stuff that he's done in wrestling as Kevin Nash and not Diesel. He really doesn't want to draw too much attention to that character. They're also mad at Shawn Michaels for using the words strap and wrestler. You know how WWE loves to change the vernacular, and this is no exception. They really didn't want him using those words. And speaking of words, they're also mad at Medusa for using what they call adult language during her, acceptance speech. They also claimed that, the Hall of Fame ceremony went on way too long. It's not interesting enough, and, they want to change all that. WWE promoters have they're finally getting the hint about how the Divas are being viewed by the WWE fans. They are finally getting the idea that they're still not very good. People still aren't paying very much attention to them. They're not getting enough time. And apparently this hashtag Give Divas a Chance thing has done a little something to further promote the Divas in this direction, because apparently they're going to try to push the Divas more, and they're coming up with new characters. They're going to be calling up more of the women from NXT, and this is something that kind of bothers me. It's like an NXT, which is supposed to be developmental, they call them women. They call them women wrestlers. In the WWE, which is supposed to be the main roster, they're called divas, which in my estimation in wrestling terms is a downgrade. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you not call them women? They're not divas. They're not models. They're not supposed to be models. They're not supposed to be actresses. They're supposed to be wrestlers first and foremost. After all, the first letter, well, actually one of the W's in WWE is supposed to be wrestling. So apparently they don't really care that much about that. But we're going to see how this thing develops with promotional, with the Divas being promoted and how they're going to be promoted. Anyway, I'm tripping over my words a lot. I apologize. As far as WrestleMania goes, I only had 8 matches listed. Apparently there were 10. I missed 2 of them. I don't know which ones they were. Apparently they weren't really consequential because I still don't remember which ones those would have been. But I came out 3-5 in terms of predictions, which pushes my record for this year to 14-13. I am getting ever closer to that 50% mark. Unfortunately, my score is going down to reach that 50% mark, so I really need to do better with that. I need to stop second-guessing myself. I would have done better with the predictions had I not second-guessed myself on the Daniel Bryan thing winning the Intercontinental title. I did mention last time that I was going to second-guess myself and say Wade Barrett was going to retain. Guess what? My initial pick, which was Daniel Bryan, he won, and I forsake my initial thought, and that's my bad, and I will not do that again. I will take my initial, I will take my intuition, I will take my first choice from now on to prevent this from happening. So, look for Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler to have a feud, I guess, from what I'm hearing. Somehow Sheamus, I guess, is going to be figured into this, and now that he's back, and he's got this weird new look, but it fits his new attitude. at least he's not a face anymore. So, and this is something that everybody's been waiting for. They don't want Sheamus as a face character because he's just stupid. Nobody wants to see that. Honestly, the crowd that was yelling at him, that that was chanting "You look stupid," in a way, I think he handled that wrong. He should have said something on the mic more to the effect of, he should have gone more kayfabe with it. He should have said something more to the effect of, like, I look stupid. It's like, he should have said something like, it's like, I'm up here and you're all down there. I get paid to beat people up, and you have to pay to see it. Who looks stupid now? And that should have been his mic drop moment, and then he should have walked out. That would have created more heat, I think. Yeah, but that's just me. It's like, what do I know? I've only been watching wrestling for 31 years. Anyway, yeah. The Battle Royal, I chose Sandow to win that, and I really wish it would have happened, but Big Show won it. Not that anyone probably cares. Big Show's a stale character, whether he's heel or face. He can't seem to make up his mind what he wants to do, so whatever, I really didn't care much about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. AJ and Paige won their match. Whatever. It's a Divas match. Who cares? They were only given, apparently around 7 minutes, and that didn't really help their push to, quote-unquote, give Divas a chance. And the crowd didn't seem all that much into it from, what I've been able to gather from previews and whatnot, or from, the the video that I have seen. So, it didn't help WrestleMania any, and it didn't help the Divas any, and maybe this is what got the promoters going about, maybe we need to do something different with the Divas. Gee, you think? Lol, Cena wins. I don't need to say anything about that. It was just, yeah, who cares? Roman Reigns. Yeah, we all know how that turned out. My second guess was that Seth Rollins was going to cash in somehow, although I thought he would probably save it until the night after WrestleMania when, it would be a better show. But why he decided to make it a handicap match or a triple threat match rather than to wait to see who won and then pick the bones of the winner, I don't know. I have no idea what goes on in the minds of WWE creative anymore. I've kind of stopped guessing. Randy Orton did beat Seth Rollins in their match earlier that night, and I have heard that was a really good match. And it should have been after their interaction before WrestleMania. It should have lived up to that kind of hype. So this is the Orton that we've been needing to see. This is the Orton that we've been waiting for. The guy, with some intensity, the guy with a little bit of personality, not that stale, droning, dull dude that wanted to be face for a time. No, this is the guy we need. Now, he can be face if he wants to, but he needs to keep up this intensity. He needs to keep up this anger. He needs to be this version of Randy Orton. Let's see. I'm looking down my list here. Let's see. Yeah, the Wade Barrett thing. I already mentioned that. Yeah, here are the two sticking points with WrestleMania that really kind of blew my mind. The two matches that I had any vested interest in were totally, we're kind of ruined. Okay, the Triple H versus Sting match, that was ruined. It was overbooked. It was garbage. I don't know what made anyone think bringing out DX and NWO in their aged forms or whatever. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought this was going to add anything to the match? We wanted to see a one-on-one between Sting and Triple H. We wanted to see Sting win. And, the build-up to this could have been better, certainly. And the execution at WrestleMania certainly could have been better. It should have been better. The way they brought out DX and NWO to interfere or to interject themselves for their respective sides, I guess. No, I mean, I watched the match online and it wasn't good. The back and forth between Triple H and Sting, that was telling a story. But when they brought these other guys out, it was over. It was ruined. And it was garbage. It turned out to be garbage. It didn't start out that way, but it certainly ended up that way. And I am sitting here thinking, man, this had better not be the last we see between these two because, as we saw on the Raw following WrestleMania, neither Sting nor Triple H showed up. So maybe we'll get more out of this, maybe not. But if this was Sting's only match on WWE programming, then they completely wasted that opportunity. And they need to rectify this. They need to fix this. They better not let that be the end of it. There's got to be more to it than this. So do not waste Sting. Bring him back. Do more with him. And finally, Orton versus Undertaker. First of all, I don't understand why they would have brought Undertaker back, why they would have dug up his lumbering corpse again, if, for no other reason than to pass the torch to Bray Wyatt. This was the logical move. This was what people were looking for. This is what people wanted. What did we get? We got Undertaker taking an unnecessary win. As slow as the match was, as long as the match was, Wyatt should have won that match, and he needed it more. Undertaker didn't need this. He needs to retire, if anything. What this does to Bray Wyatt is going to push him down further into that area in people's that area in fans' minds where they think of Bray Wyatt as being, as having no credibility, as having less credibility anyway, as being less legitimate, as being downgraded. I mean, I really don't know how to put this into words. It's not even disappointment. It's not even confusion. It's something beyond that. I really can't understand why they would have given Undertaker this match. They needed to pass that torch on to Bray Wyatt. All this talk that he was doing about being the new face of fear in WWE, that's not going to happen. It can't happen now. He was supposed to beat Undertaker in order to achieve that. It's not going to happen now. And that should have happened at WrestleMania. This is what Bray Wyatt needed to establish himself as the big bad that WWE needs, because they don't have one. I can't even tell you how... I'm sorry, I'm getting really frustrated about this. Seriously, I'm frustrated about this. This was one thing that WrestleMania should have gotten right, and they fucked it up. And... Triple H versus Sting, that's another thing they should have gotten right and that they totally fucked up. I don't understand their logic behind this. I don't understand their thinking. But these were two places in WWE that did not happen the way it should have. So honestly, I'm bitter over this. I'm beyond disappointed, and I'm glad that I didn't get to see WrestleMania this year. So, this is what WWE has left us. Yeah, Raw looked interesting this month, but again, we're not going to see Brock Lesnar on a regular like people want, and we're not going to be seeing the well, we may be seeing the WWE title more often. You know, this may be the dawning of a new era in terms of being defended more often on a regular basis, like it should have been when Lesnar had it. But we're definitely not going to see Lesnar because of the terms of his contract. We're not going to see him until they start building SummerSlam, which isn't happening until August. So you have a few months to wait on that one. Man, the more I think about WWE, the more I just want to, pull out my own shovel and, dump them into a hole and dig, just dump the dirt on top of it, layer it with concrete, bolt a steel, plate on top of it, never let it out. It's just, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm ending this particular topic because I just can't anymore. As far as TNA goes, I did manage to catch up on last week and this week, and they're still trying to find a balance between production and wrestling. They've been turning in really good matches over the past few weeks, at least. And if you haven't been watching, you need to. Keep it out of your mind that they're trying to be WWE, because I don't really see that they are trying to be WWE anymore. They're trying to, separate themselves from that. They may not be doing it in a way that we particularly care for, but then again, we're used to WWE production values, and people over in the UK, TNA is way big in UK, and WWE is big here. So these are two separate markets, two separate promotions. I still contend that TNA should move to the UK. They should move to England or something where they are more appreciated, where they are more followed, where they have their fan base, their major fan base. But as long as they're here, they need to find a good balance between production and wrestling. And I can't say whether or not they're coming closer to it, whether they're doing a better job of it. They're doing a different job of it. It looks different. It doesn't look better. It doesn't look worse. It just looks different. And I think this is where we need to, get used to things. I think this is where we need to, adjust our own mindsets in terms of wrestling. It's like we need to recognize that WWE is its own thing, TNA is its own thing, Lucha Underground is its own thing, Global Force, they might be their own thing, New Japan, that's its own thing. We need to keep them compartmentalized, we need to keep them separate and not compare them to each other, because there's really no point. I don't see WWE as a standard bearer for anything anymore, other than being watered down and spread too thin and, convoluted, if you will. That's the only standard I see them bearing anymore. But anyway, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm just saying that every promotion is different, and they should try to be different from each other, and they should be individual. They should be unique to themselves, and they should do what they can to appeal to as many people as possible without crossing over into another promotion's territory, without trying to look like someone else, without trying to be someone else. So, TNA is still trying to find that identity. I think they had it at one time, then they lost it, and now they're trying to, figure out a new identity, I guess. It's confusing. I think the longer this whole struggle goes on, over the recent years, things have just kind of been going downhill in terms of wrestling in general, and for different reasons in different promotions. But I'm still going to stay on board. I'm going to see where this thing goes. It's not going to die. It's never going to go away. We're always going to have pro wrestling. It's just, what are we going to be given? This is what we have to look forward to. This is what we have to, wait for. And we'll just see where it happens. And hopefully things will get better. Hopefully things will become more solid all the way around with every promotion. And hopefully things will get better all the way around. So anyway, now that I'm come to the end of my ramble, I'm going to go away for another week, and I will see y'all next week. Actually, I won't see y'all because this isn't really a video as much as it is a recording. But anyway, this has been Deuce Loosely, Devil's favorite advocate, saying sayonara, suckers.